Max Crosby, he's doing Max Crosby things, right?
You know, there's a guy, maybe you heard of Max Crosby, that could exact that kind of pressure on him.
Right when you get off the bus, if you're a defensive coordinator, you got to find number 89.
Hey, welcome back to another edition of Upon Further Review, brought to you by Coors Light. I'm Paul Gutierrez, and we've got breaking news. The Raiders have made a trade here at the trade deadline. They have dealt receiver Jakobi Meyers to the Jacksonville Jaguars for a 4th-round pick and a 6th-round pick in next year's draft. Jakobi Meyers, wide receiver 1 for the Raiders entering the season. Last year was his first ever 1,000-yard season, was not charged with a single drop all year. This year, 33 catches, 352 yards, averaging 10.7 yards per reception in 7 games. Since the beginning of 2024, according to Pro Football Focus, the 3rd lowest drop rate in the NFL over that time. With having said all that, I'd like to bring in James Jones, former NFL receiver himself, guy that had a nice career. James, knee-jerk reaction right off the top here with the Raiders moving on from Jakobi Meyers.
Oh, man, I think it's something that had to be done. If you watched how the Raiders played offense, you could see that Jakobi wasn't a vocal point in the offense. It was 3 tight ends. It was Brock Bowers. And, you know, obviously he's trying to run the ball with Genty. But you've seen slowly Trey Tucker come along, those tight ends come along. So the writing was on the wall. I think this is an excellent trade for both sides. The Raiders get a 4th and a 6th-round pick for Jakobi. And then Jacksonville, dealing with a lot of injuries on the offensive side of the ball, they get a really good pass catcher in Jakobi.
And they actually just saw each other this past weekend, too. But looking ahead here, short work week for the Raiders. They're going to Denver. Last year, everything seemed to be trending in the right direction in that first matchup against the Broncos last year in Denver. Brock Bowers scored his first touchdown. The defense was making stops. The Raiders were even on Denver's 5-yard line, about to go up 17-3 until this 100-yard pick 6 in the second quarter from Patrick Surtain. The second, it may have swung the momentum for both teams because to me, it looked like Denver was about to quit on the season. Instead, Denver takes off. We see where they are now. The Raiders, that started a 10-game losing streak for them last year.
Yeah, not only did it start a 10-game losing streak for us, but it started a defensive year campaign for Pat Surtain. This is a really good defense that the Raiders is going up against, man. I mean, they can get after the passer. They can cover in the back end. They are much better than they were last year. We got to have all hands on deck for this matchup right here. Obviously, you got to assume that Pat Surtain is probably going to travel with Brock Bowers wherever he goes because they're not afraid to put him inside, outside, wherever that may be. So we got to be ready to account for that. Maybe we run the ball a little bit more with Brock in there if they want to have him follow because you got a smaller guy trying to tackle. But this is going to be a tough challenge. This is going to be a tough outing. So we got to make sure, take care of the football, don't turn the football over, and protect the quarterback.
We saw against Jacksonville when it came to the Raiders, the return of Brock Bowers, and as I've said before, he is the truth. And we saw that in the opener when he's healthy. We saw it again when he's healthy against the Jaguars. 13 targets, 12 catches, 127 yards, 3 touchdowns, the most touchdowns he's had in a game this year. But it wasn't just him. It was Michael Mayer also. He had 7 targets, 7 catches, 26 receiving yards. A lot of 12 personnel. Is this something that we should just really settle down and say, okay, this is going to be their base offense now going forward?
Oh, you better believe it. And especially when you just look at the trade we just made. Yeah. You know, we just traded our best receiver, which lets you know that we're going to be in 2 tight ends, sometimes even 3. You watch this last game against Jacksonville, we were in 3 tight ends, you know, a little bit in that game. So you got to think that they're going to lean heavy toward Mayer, heavy toward Brock to get them out there, and you're going to play action pass, and you're going to have, you know, Trey Tucker and those guys on the outside. But that is our best personnel. Whether we like it or not, that is our best personnel. You have 2 tight ends that can run and catch and also block. So you're able to get linebackers in mismatches, smaller corners. You know, they got to guard the bigger body. So it is our best personnel. And like I said, it showed with the trade deadline. But Brock Bowers is everything for this offense. When you have a guy that can work the middle of the field with his hands, with his route running, with his playmaking ability, that's a quarterback's best friend.
They're going to be facing a Bronco defense that is not necessarily the no-fly zone that we've been accustomed to. It's kind of more like the Orange Crush defense. Their pass rush is really good. They're leading the NFL in sacks, 40. They have the 10th best pass rush grade in the NFL, 75.2. Again, that's per Pro Football Focus. They have the 8th best defensive grade in the NFL per Pro Football Focus. What are you seeing from that Bronco defense, especially challenging with this offense seeing some glimmers of hope against the Jaguars?
I think that's the main thing. You just said it all, my man. Yeah. The pass rush. when you have a pass rush that can get after the quarterback, that's letting the defensive backs know that, hey, man, the quarterback got 2 seconds to throw this ball, which means we don't got to bail on stuff. We can sit on routes. We can gamble because we know we have the pass rush that can get after the quarterback. And that's very, very dangerous because when you're game planning for a pass rush like this, you can't have too many 7-step, 5-step dropbacks. The ball has to come out of the quarterback's hands fast. You got to establish a run game. So it's going to be key that the Raiders stay ahead of the sticks. And what I mean by that is we got to stay in 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4. We cannot be in the 3rd and 10s and the 3rd and 9s and let this pass rush pin their ears back and get after Geno Smith, because whatever we think about our offensive line, this defensive line has done it to every offensive line that they've played this year. They are a really good front seven. So we're going to have to make sure that we have a plan to not only protect, but to get this ball out of Geno Smith's hands fast.
Yeah, that's what they call a tease, right? Geno Smith. I mean, the most important position in all team sports. I know I may be offending a wide receiver here, but when it comes to Geno Smith, his conservative play versus the explosive plays, looking at some of the numbers here, 84.6% of his passes have been in the short area last week. He connected on 2 of 5 attempts for 31 yards on passes where he's thrown it at least 10 yards down the field. That is and for the season, he's the 7th lowest average intended air yards of any quarterback in the league. What do you want to see out of Geno? And again, it all depends upon what kind of pressure he's seeing and how comfortable he is. But what do you want to see out of him in terms of attacking this Bronco defense?
To be honest with you, I would love to see him attack it the way you just explained it.
Yeah.
We don't need these big-time shot plays down the football field. Explosive plays come from throwing this ball short and letting your playmakers make plays.
Yeah, there it is.
Last weekend,
Go ahead.
Last weekend was our best outing offensively. And you think about Geno Smith, the way he played, he dumped a couple of these screen passes to Ashton Genty. He threw some short ones to Brock Bowers. Brock Bowers got some yak yardage. Like, that is the game plan, and that's the football game. I always tell people, a go ball and a long pass, that is a low percentage throw. For Tom Brady, for Aaron Rodgers, for Patrick Mahomes, that is a low percentage throw. The football game is getting this ball out to your players fast and letting them make plays. So going up against this Broncos defense, I hope we have the same formula of trying to get this ball into our playmakers' hands extremely fast.
Yeah, when Geno hit Brock on that crossing pattern, Brock was just gone. I mean, that was just a thing of beauty because you saw the speed, you saw the sure-handedness, you saw all of that hit him in stride. Flipping it to the other side, Bo Nix. How impressed with you, if at all, are you with the way this guy's played so early in his career?
I'm really impressed because beyond the X's and O's on the football field, you just see the poise. You see the confidence in the quarterback. You see the poise in the quarterback in the year 2. I watched him last week, man, game on the line. He didn't force nothing, made some big-time plays at the end of that game with his legs to put his team in field goal position to win that game. He's just doing everything right. He has command of the offense. You could tell him and Sean Payton are on a string, and, he's just one of those guys that always seems to make the right play. He's not going to make the mistake. So very, very impressive, in his year 2 campaign, man, the way he's playing football. So we all know the way you rattle a quarterback, an old quarterback, a young quarterback, a new quarterback, an old quarterback, is Max Crosby and that defensive line putting pressure and getting on him. And if we don't put pressure and get on him, it's going to be a tough day for our defense. If we do, we should have a pretty good day on defense.
Well, and then here's the challenge then for that defense, Max especially, is that Denver has the highest pass blocking grade in the NFL. So it's up to Max to get in there and do things. And he's coming off a solid game again. I mean, Max doing Max things, right? 4 tackles, a sack, 3 tackles for a loss, a pass defense. What's going to uncork him? And I guess it's real simple as saying, if you can have a Robin to his Batman on opposite him on the defensive line, that's going to get him going. But what are you seeing from Max at this point in the season as well? Because it seems like he just really is not getting enough help on the other side, unless you're seeing something different.
No, I think the main thing for the Raiders and the main thing for Max Crosby is he's not playing with a lead.
Yeah.
When you're a pass rusher and you're not playing with a lead, it's hard to pin your ears back and go get the quarterback when they have ability to run every play call at their disposal. They can run it. They can run screens. They could, obviously pass it, short game, long game. Max Crosby has not been playing with any leads this year, last year, really a lot since he's been with the Raiders. And is very impressive what he's accomplishing without that. But the main thing to really unleash Max Crosby is to jump out on some teams, man, and play with a lead. Go up 10-0, go up 14-0, put them in pass situations so Max Crosby can really just do what he does best, and that's get after the quarterback. So it's key we have a fast start on offense to be able to help him out in that way.
Sounds good, James. I look forward to always seeing you after the game, talking with EA and with Amber as well, breaking down the game. And we'll see exactly if they can bring back a win or just keep making those steps for more positivity going forward. James, thanks as always for joining me.
Not a problem. Appreciate you.
All right, everybody, don't go anywhere. Coming up next, we got an interview with a guy who grew up a Raider fan in L.A., was playing in Oakland when the Raiders were there, danced his way into your hearts, and now he's hosting a show, Talk of the Nation. Baron Davis, he's up next.
It's game day, the day we've been waiting for. And this is more than just a game, it's a passion, a lifestyle. Here at the Raider Image, you're part of our team. Whether you're in the stands or cheering from home, we've got your back. Feel the confidence, own the game.
We
are the Raider Image. Your game, your gear, exclusively at the Raider Image.
Meet Max Out. He's a credit wrecker. His eyes are bigger than his wallet. And his credit score pays the price. You see, Max doesn't know he should only use 30% or less of his credit limit, because using his full line can lower his score. Don't be like Max Out. Instead, learn how to avoid the wreckers at creditwreckers.com. Credit One Bank for what's ahead.
And not just with him scoring, but then also it opened up.
A little anxiety and nervousness, but I get that as an athlete before games, before practice, and that just means that I'm readying myself.
Welcome back to Upon Further Review. Paul Gutierrez here. And obviously our next guest here, Baron Davis. Baron, I don't have a mirrored ball for you, but I do have a silver and black book that I wrote with Lincoln Kennedy.
Come on,
So
man.
knowing that you were coming on the show today, knowing you were joining the family, both of us joined the family, so to speak, at the same time, I wanted to give that to you.
I appreciate it.
Find Lincoln Kennedy, maybe he'll sign that for you, and you get more into depth on the organization and everything. But I know with you being here, it's special for you.
Yeah.
Where did your fandom? I know growing up in L.A., the Raiders were there when you were very young. They were there from when you were 2 years old to 14. They left. What's your Raider fandom? Where does that come from when they were in L.A., or is it from something else?
It comes from L.A.
Yeah.
You know, any team that's an L.A. team outside of the Chargers, we're not rocking with
Division rival.
We're not rocking with the Chargers at all. But just growing up in L.A.,
Yeah.
you know, you root for the Dodgers, you root for the Lakers, you root for the Raiders. And then, you know, the Rams was it was default second team.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it was, you know, football was always all around me. I played Pop Warner football. One of my Pop Warner football coaches, Coach Long, he was a huge Raider fan. He had the Raider Man Cave, old tapes.
Okay.
And so we would always, you know, after practices or games, all the kids go back, play football, you know, at Coach Long house, but we also watch the Raider game. And so I think that just a commitment, right? And then you seeing commitment to excellence, right? You seeing stuff like that as a young kid. It's just sort of ingrained in your DNA. And then the Raiders, to me, is a lifestyle. So the Raider brand is a lifestyle because people wear Raider gear 24/7, 365, not just football season.
Right.
People wear Raider jerseys to Laker games, the Dodger games. And so it became a part of the culture, the style, right? And for me as a young kid, I was just absorbing all this, as well as watching Bo Jackson, Marcus Allen, right? You know, just players that I could relate to playing running back on the Pop Warner level.
That's what I was going to ask you. What position you would have played? You must have been a beast to bring down anyway. But for me, on a personal level, when the Raiders were in L.A., my dad had always been a Raider fan, even when they were in Oakland the first time. Mm-hmm. And for me, when I looked up and the Raiders moved to L.A., I was 12. So at 12 years old, you start to kind of feel yourself a little bit, right? And you're playing ball and everything. And then I look up and I see the head coach looks like my grandpa. I see the quarterback looks like my uncle. There was a connection there. You had two Latinos in these positions of ultimate power in the ultimate team sport.
Yeah.
For you, what game, what player really spoke out to you for the Raiders when you were growing up?
I would say Bo Jackson.
Yeah.
Bo Jackson, because, that's what you saw on the highlights, right? Or you watch the games. Soon as Bo Jackson touched the ball, it could be 90. Yeah. It could be a touchdown. And so just the excitement. And then Tecmo Bowl.
Tecmo, yeah. You just couldn't stop him in Tecmo Bowl.
Tecmo Bowl, you have Bo Jackson and Marcus Allen in the backfield. And, to me, it was like two great running backs that, complemented each other. And I'm young, so I'm just watching and seeing, and I like what I see, not necessarily like digesting, the game like it should be. I love watching 34. I love watching 32, but 34 was my guy. I love the commercials. I was just a huge Bo Jackson fan.
So you're an LA guy through and through, Santa Monica, Crossroads High School. You go to UCLA, and that's where when I heard you were coming to the Raiders as well as I was like, wait a minute, I covered a Baron Davis UCLA game. I went to UNLV.
Okay.
So I missed Larry, Stacy, Anderson, Greg, but I was there for J.R. Ryder, Everett Gray, Dexter Boney, and then I covered Sean Marion.
My guy.
When you guys played each other at UCLA at Pauley Pavilion, the Rebels, they had a little run going, then Bill Bano took the air out of the ball, and you guys ran right past them and took them up. When you think about how the world of sports is so small, really, and everybody comes together, you start in L.A., the Raiders are there. You go to Oakland later in your career.
The Raiders are there.
The Raiders are there. We believe Raiders. Mark Davis is sitting courtside.
Yep, that was my guy.
When you think about that, is that where that relationship kind of fostered at that point with the Raiders and with Mark Davis?
Yeah, I think it was just cemented, right? Mark became a part of my, warm-up routine. So when I run out for the Warriors, Mark would get to the game early. So, we warm up, do the layups, make my layup, come out, slap Mark hand, slap Steve Lusso hand, right? And it was like I knew if they were there, okay, part of like athlete and superstitious, you want to see your people in those seats. So, Mark was a huge supporter, of the Warriors, and he was there every game. And so just to get the opportunity to interact with him, and he was incredibly cool and charismatic. Yeah. And then right next door is the Raiders. Right. So we shared workspace at the Oakland Oracle Park. Yeah. And it was cool for me because I got to on let's say afternoon games we would play, or like we play Sunday at 12. You can go sneak over and like pop in on a Raider game. Yeah. But just the fans, the fandom, being there, like, and Oakland for me was like, okay, this is what the Raiders is about. Like I thought, the LA Raiders, like the way LA held it down, but just being there and seeing, the tailgating and how people showed up and they came out and they supported. And then you see like them playing on the Oakland A's field where like sometimes it's like still dirt.
Still dirt.
Yeah. I was like, yo, man, this is real. This is what the real Raiders, look like. Like this is a grind over here.
Yeah. And I covered those A's teams as well, and I know there was a lot of connection there too. Mark Kotze, who's currently the A's manager, and he used to always warm up wearing the Warriors shorts.
Oh, he did.
He did. So I don't know where he got them, but again, you're saying, you guys were next door neighbors, and you had the Raiders, the Warriors, the A's, everybody together there. How does that help you now in this new role as the host of Talk of the Nation? Because you've had everybody in the building that you possibly could, from Mark Davis to Max Crosby. Yep. My guy Rich Ting, you had in there, and I know Rich from back in the day. And then just this past weekend, I mean, I'm just sitting there like a fly on the wall, just watching you interview my guys, Stacey Ogman and Anderson Hunt.
Amazing.
For you to be able to encapsulate all that and bring your history, your context of the knowledge, how does that help you do what you're doing in your new gig?
I think for me, it's just I'm a storyteller.
Yeah.
So I live for stories. I want to hear, the stories, and I kind of want to open up, open up the doors and the windows so, the talent have an opportunity to share who they are and feel comfortable. And so I think, for me, this is a great role because on the other side, I'm always, getting interviewed or doing the interviews. And so now I get to be, that fly on the wall, right, and ask, why are you a fan, right, and give the talent the opportunity to express themselves, right, and tell that story. I think it's more about, as we go forward in sports is so present. Yeah. Present. Who got traded? What are we doing? What's the next pick? And a lot of times we lose touch with the legacy, with the know-how, with the mantra, with the essence, and then also the players. Yeah. And so to have this podcast, it's incredible because, Raiders Talk of the Nation is incredible because I get to go all over the map, back to the 60s, the 70s, 90s, and just, pretty much mix it up. Today it was Sebastian Janikowski.
Seabass was in the house.
Yeah, John Kondo.
Okay.
And Leckler.
Yeah.
Shane Leckler, the legend.
Hall of Fame candidate.
Hall of Fame candidate. Yeah. And, for me, it's an honor, right? Because you grow up watching these dudes and, kick field goals or place punts, and you hear about, you see that they're accomplishing all these things because as a fan, you want to see your guys in the Pro Bowl and All Pros, and just to see their camaraderie, just to sit back and let those three guys just talk and riff and, bring me into their world.
Right.
And for me, it's to bring them into the present. So, young Raider fans and growing Raider fans always remember, who those pioneers are.
And that's part of what sports is, right? It's a microcosm of society anyway. And you've seen it from both stations now, being on the other side of the microphone, now on this side of it, taking dance. Even I heard you were talking with Stacey and Anderson this weekend about where you're going next with dancing.
Yeah.
And I mean, you just sound really excited. I know you got to go here, but real quick, what's your next step, whether it's a paso doble or whatever it is going forward? What are you doing next dancing?
I'm going to still keep doing it. Keep taking dance classes, but I was telling Stacey and Anderson, because Stacey Augman, he was giving me a hard time the whole time I was doing it. And then I had to let him know, man, this is fly. Imagine if you could dance. We think we can dance, but we just boogieing and not, just kind of keeping beat.
You say gangsters don't dance, they boogie?
Yeah, and he said gangsters don't dance, we boogie. But if a gangster can dance, then, that's amazing. It's a quadruple threat. Yeah. And so, I was like, man, I kept telling him, I'm going to travel the world, and I'm going to take ballroom dancing and, take it seriously and improve my culture.
That's phenomenal. And I know my daughter, Grace, who's 17 years old, was very hurt when you didn't advance beyond that. So
me too.
She's going to be excited now, too, that you're moving on. And then lastly, just when it comes to the Raiders, you've got a unique perspective being the fan, but also being in the building and talking to these guys. What do they need to do to improve themselves and get over the hump and keep going forward and make this a better season?
Right now it's kind of like you're in a weird purgatory because you're not as bad as your record looks. Right. You are 5 key plays away from being a 500 ball club.
Yeah.
Everybody's new.
Yeah.
And so I think when you're in a situation like this, as the player, you want to do what the coach is saying. As a coach, you want your players to do what you're telling them and what you see. But I think at some point, in this season, and this season is going to be about chemistry.
Yeah.
Right? Progress, right? Improvement. And also for a lot of these, new guys and guys coming together, we're seeing them play and they playing hard. And they trying their best. They doing the best that they can, and can they do better? Of course. But at some point, instincts.
They got to kick in.
The collective instincts of, understanding strength and weaknesses and protecting, as protecting each other. And I think that right now, the team, meaning the players, having established the identity that we can follow. I mean, I understand it's the
yeah.
coach and the system and, all that, but at the same time, it's like that's what the coaches want us to do. Mm-hmm. This is who we are, and this is the personality we're going to adopt to carry out this mission.
Right.
And I just related to like the We Believe team,
The
right?
We Believe Warriors.
We were in a situation like the Raiders were, and we were struggling all year, made a couple trades. Trades didn't go right. We were still all right. And Nelly was just like, we'll see what happens, right? We'll see what happens. I don't think we'll make the playoffs. I don't know how good we are, but, at least we got some guys we like. And I remember just sitting in after one of the games, and I was like, it hit me. The new guys, they come from like NBA being fun. The young guys, when I was there and I just got there, we were like stiff and tight and like just trying to win every game,
right.
Or you know what I mean, or practice hard every time. And when Steven Jackson and Al came, they wanted to have fun, and so it went from playing basketball to hooping. And every day and that's a big difference.
It's a huge difference. Fine line, but a huge difference,
it's a fine line, but it's a huge difference. Now Monte open up.
Yeah.
Jay Rich, now you start to see like, hold on, like we got some hoopers.
Okay.
We're not gonna beat a lot of teams in a system or playing this type of systemized way of basketball, but we got so many dudes that can put the ball in the basket, and we're small. Of course, we're going to be outnumbered outside, but guess what? We can steals, deflections. We start to establish like, hey, man, you're great at that. Let's use you for that. Let's use you for that. And so I think that's going to be where the players have to take it to next.
Yeah.
It can't be, one person. It has to be a collective voice, a collective thought, a collective vision, and then a collective style and a brand. And once they adopt that personality into what the coaches and the system is working, I think now you're looking at, we're making a lot of progress.
Oh, snap.
Oh, snap.
They got to believe.
Yeah.
And that's what those We Believe Warriors were about, and that's what the Raiders need to believe in themselves going forward. And like you said, make progress, and you see progress, and we saw a little bit of progress in the last game. And the beauty of it is it's a short week. They get the Broncos on the road, another rivalry game in Denver on Thursday.
Yeah, man, we just got to keep chopping wood, and the game is in the fine print.
Yeah, perfect. Baron, thank you so much for stopping by, man. I love watching the show every week. And next time I see my guy Mark Dickel, I'm gonna tell him you said what's up. And everybody's got to look that up. Well, coming up, Cynthia Frelund joins us with her numbers to know. Stay tuned.
I've been with the Raiders for over 5 years now, and nothing surprises me. Cute pony.
For the first time ever, step inside Allegiant Stadium on the eve of game day. When the building comes alive, this exclusive 75-minute guided tour gives you a rare access to the final pre-game prep, sound checks, lighting tests, rehearsals, and more. Go beyond the standard experience with behind-the-scenes access to suites, clubs, and areas off limits on regular tours. Hear untold stories of the stadium, feel the energy of kickoff coming alive, and you might even spot Raider Rusher. This is your all-access pass to game day, before the gates even open.
Max Crosby, he's doing Max Crosby things, right?
There's a guy, maybe you heard of Max Crosby, that could exact that kind of pressure on him.
Right when you get off the bus, if you're a defensive coordinator, you got to find number 89.
Hey, welcome back. We're joined now by Cynthia Frelund. She always takes us behind the numbers, behind the plays, the stats. But Cynthia, some breaking news. The Raiders have traded Jakobi Meyers to the Jacksonville Jaguars, get a 4th and a 6th round draft pick back. Knee-jerk reaction. What are your thoughts on this trade for the Raiders?
I think it's a little bit unsurprising, considering there was a lot of frenzy right at the end, and not really to do with the Raiders, but a little frenzy for the Jets. I think this is something where they were planning for it. I mean, bringing in Tyler Lockett in a reunion situation with both Pete Carroll and Geno Smith, it gives them the opportunity to be flexible at the wide receiver position and gain a little bit of extra equity. It was actually funny when I read the tweet from Ian Rappaport. I read it as it's 4th and 6 for Jakobi Meyers, and I was like, what does that mean? Oh, 4th and a 6. I got to read that a little slower. I was like, 4th and 6. Is he going for it? Are we? What's going on here?
Beyond a 4th and a 6th, it is also an opportunity for the Raiders. Depending on how you look at it, they obviously brought in Tyler Lockett, and there's some familiarity there for Geno Smith and Pete Carroll as well. But what could this potentially mean for the young guys, the guys they just drafted, Jack Besh and Dante Thornton, in terms of getting some reps? Because Jakobi was wide receiver number 1, but we know who the most dangerous pass catcher is. It's Brock Bowers. But how could this help in the development of those 2 young guys?
I feel like now you know what you have, right? Tyler Lockett, he's a pretty known quantity, and that will help with the veteran presence in the locker room. What are you supposed to be doing? Are you executing all of the different routes and blocks or whatever you're supposed to be doing? So I think Tyler Lockett has that coach on the field aspect that he adds to this younger group now. And I think now you'll, by the end of the season, have a really good understanding of exactly who's on the field, what you expect from them. And then going into next season, you can then add where you need to add and figure out how you support all of the things that this offense wants to do.
Beyond that, Tyler Lockett was also wide open in the back of the end zone for a potential game-winning 2-point conversion, but I digress. We won't talk about those things. Let's talk about Denver's run game. Very dangerous run game. J.K. Dobbins, he's 4th in the NFL in rushing yards, 695 yards. And the Raiders, they're 16th in rushing yards allowed per game. Is this where the game is going to kind of turn here? Is this one of the matchups we need to watch and keep a really special eye on Thursday night?
So we're going to call it the run game in general, but my answer is really, let's talk about like how Denver uses run, screen, anything short. 67% of all of Bo Nix's passes this season have been under 9 air yards. So it's not just the run game, but it's also like we saw it last week, RJ Harvey catching short passes. This Denver offense, they want to catch screen passes. Screen pass, screen pass, screen pass. They've gotten off to slow starts, and the way that they kind of get Bo and the offense back on track is to run with J.K. Dobbins or use screen passes, and I'm going to keep saying screen passes because we're going to see a lot of screen passes on Thursday, and then we'll probably see a few more screen passes.
Well, what we won't see, I don't think, is the Denver defense with Patrick Surtain. How is that going to affect what the Raiders are going to be able to do, especially in that 12 personnel? Brock Bowers, again, showed that he is just key for this offense, especially when things are going.
Yeah, well, to me, this means maybe if you're a Michael Mayer fantasy owner, you might want to play him because maybe Brock will command some of that sort of attention from the defensive backs and Mayer can slide in there and make those grabs. But ultimately, Brock Bowers is going to be the one that they need to account for. And not having Pat Surtain back there changes everything. I mean, listen, he's a defensive player of the year for a reason. It's not like it was a fluke or some sort of like strange thing that happened, but it's really about the pressure up front too. So we saw Geno use shorter passes last week, and he actually was great against man. All 4 of his touchdowns came when the Jags played man. It's going to be a little harder against the Broncos man, even without Pat Surtain. But I think that 12 and maybe even, any sort of heavy formation. So 2 tight ends, maybe lots of load them up front, keep that pass rush away. It's the number 1 pass rush in the NFL, the most sacks in the NFL. Keep the pass rush away and then use short passes and then ask Brock Bowers to do a lot because we know he can, do a lot.
And we saw him do it. That's kind of his breakout game last year, at least when he announced his presence with authority. He had that big game against Denver last year in that first game, 12 targets, 8 catches, 97 yards. He had the 3 touchdown catches last week, all in different scenarios. So, again, the Bronco defense isn't so much the no-fly zone defense as we've seen in recent years, as much more of it's like the Orange Crush defense of when I was a kid. So when it comes to how the Raiders need to attack that, what do you think that the key is then for them?
Well, we saw with Ashton Jeanty last week. So the number that you need to know this week is 122.7, and that is the passer rating that the Broncos defense has afforded to opposing quarterbacks when they've targeted running backs out of the backfield. So through the air, 122.7, that's second highest in the league. Using short passes to Ashton Jeanty specifically. Why do I say him? Because of his ability to just keep breaking tackles. He's already forced 46 missed tackles. That's 3rd most in the National Football League. He had 71 yards after the catch last week, and he only had 47 net yards. So if that tells you what kind of power he's bringing to the equation, I mean, it's just massive. What he's doing is massive. So throw the ball on short passes to him, get yourself into manageable third down situations, because it is the best pressure defense, the best third down defense, and the best defense in the red zone. So just do simple things over and over and over again and let them stack one on top of the other.
So I've got my pen out. I'm going to write my number to know regarding Ashton Jeanty. Please tell me again.
122.7.
122.7 for
it's a nice passer rating. Who wouldn't want that passer rating?
I like it. I like it a lot. So anyway, Cynthia, thank you. So for more on Cynthia's numbers to know, a complete breakdown, you can follow all of her stuff on the Raiders official YouTube page and also on Raiders.com. Cynthia, as always, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Be sure to check out Raiders Game Day after the Thursday night football game against the Denver Broncos for live interviews, press conferences, and expert analysis from Ambrose Harris, James Jones, and Hall of Famer Eric Allen. And that'll do it for this week's edition of Upon Further Review. Thanks to our guests, James Jones, Baron Davis, and Cynthia Frelund, for previewing this Thursday's game against the Denver Broncos at Mile High Stadium. To stay up to date on all things silver and black, check out our shows and watch them all on our YouTube channel, and visit Raiders.com for more content.